Long ago, in the lush and quiet village of Okuru, there lived a gentle-hearted girl named Zainab. Zainab was known for her kindness, though she owned little in the way of belongings. Her parents had perished years ago when fire consumed their mud brick house. Since then, she had been staying with her uncle, a stern man with a short temper. The people of Okuru often saw Zainab in worn-out wraps and faded skirts. She had only a few clothes and none were new. But one morning, the wind of her life shifted in a strange and wondrous way. As the rooster crowed and morning mist clung to the grass, Zainab stepped outside and gasped. Right at her doorstep lay a finely woven dress, bright as sunrise, and a basket of ripe, golden ugu fruits, their sweet scent rising like a song. "Ah," Zainab whispered, her fingers brushing the silky cloth. She had never touched fabric so soft or seen fruit so fresh. Who left these? She wondered aloud, heart fluttering. But while her spirit danced, others' hearts soured. Her cousin Amina, the daughter of her uncle, sharp-tongued and always poking her nose where it didn't belong, saw Zainab in the new dress and immediately felt her belly boil with jealousy. Hands on hips, Amina stomped over. "Zainab, where did you get those fancy clothes and those fruits? Who gave them to you?" Caught off guard, Zainab simply smiled, a small, puzzled smile. "I don't know. I just found them here this morning." Amina narrowed her eyes. "Humph. Well, if you find out, you better tell me," she said, trying to peek into the fruit basket. Zainab only nodded politely. Her joy was too warm, too full, to let Amina's sourness spoil it. She twirled away in her new dress, and with each step she handed out the sweet ugu fruits to little children on the roadside. "Thank you, Zainab," they chirped, their grins bright as dawn. Zainab didn't know it yet. This was only the beginning of a dazzling mystery. The next day, Zainab returned to the village square, a Baji crossing, where people gathered to chat, trade, and tell tales. Wearing her new dress, she walked with quiet pride, but not all eyes welcomed her light. One of the elders, Baba Tori, who was known for his stern face and heavy voice, suddenly stopped mid-conversation and turned toward her. "Zainab," he barked, "where did you get such rich clothes?" He stepped closer, voice rising. "We all know you have little. Are you taking what does not belong to you?" Zainab's cheeks flushed with shame. "No, I mean, someone left them at my door. I swear I don't know who." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "She's lying," someone hissed. "How can someone like her just get fine gifts like that?" Baba Tori shook his head, deep lines across his brow. "Zainab," he said gravely, "you must tell us the truth. It's dangerous to accept things when you don't know the giver. You must find out who it is and tell the elders." Zainab nodded slowly, her heart sinking. "I will try," she whispered, then turned away, her feet heavy, her mind heavier as she walked. Whispers followed her like thorns. What had felt like a blessing now weighed like a burden. Who was leaving these gifts? And why? But a quiet part of her still hoped, maybe if I solve this mystery, peace will return. Later that day, as Zainab trudged down a dusty path, her eyes on the ground, a voice called from behind a tree. "Zainab." She looked up and saw Okuru, the kind-hearted young man from the village known for helping anyone in need. "Come, don't listen to their harsh words. Sit and talk with me." She followed him to his little hut at the edge of the village where a warm, comforting smell welcomed her in. Okuru sat her down at a low table and placed a wooden plate before her, roasted yams and spicy fish stew still steaming. "You look like your spirit needs feeding more than your belly," he said with a gentle smile. Zainab nibbled quietly, the flavors making her feel a little more alive. "I heard the things they said," Okuru began. "It isn't right. You've always been honest. Whatever's going on, there must be a good reason." Zainab's throat tightened, but she nodded. "Thank you, Okuru. I truly don't know who's leaving these things, but I will try to find out." He placed a hand lightly on her back. "You won't have to do it alone. I'll help. We'll figure this out. And until then, I'll be your shield." Zainab looked at him, her eyes moist with gratitude. Having a friend, like, it means everything. Dokori grinned, eyes warm. That's what friends are for. We'll solve this mystery, Dokori said gently. And until then, I'll make sure no one bothers you. You're not alone in this. Zainab looked at him, her eyes wide with gratitude. Thank you, Dokori. It means everything to have someone like you on my side. Her heart, heavy for days, finally felt light again. Dokori grinned, his eyes twinkling. That's what friends are for, he said. Now eat up, and let's not let worries steal your appetite. We'll figure this out together. Feeling safer than she had in weeks, Zainab finished her meal. The warmth from the food and Dokori's kindness filled her spirit with courage. With him beside her, she believed she could face whatever would come. Days passed in Okuru. Zainab continued to wear her new clothes and share her juicy ugu fruits with cheerful children, who always thanked her with bright eyes and wide smiles. But back at her uncle's house, things were different. Her uncle and cousin Amina grew colder by the day. Their questions didn't stop. Where did you get these clothes? Who's sending you these things? Why won't you just tell us the truth? Their words stung more than thorns, and when she stayed quiet, they mocked her. Each morning, Zainab rose before the birds. She fetched water from the well, swept the compound, and helped her uncle in the fields. Her hands blistered, her back ached, yet nothing pleased him. You're hiding something, he would growl. No good ever comes for free. Amina would smirk, pointing fingers and whispering cruel things, making Zainab feel like a shadow in her own home. But still, in those moments of darkness, flickers of light would appear. Sometimes when Zainab returned from the market or the river, she would find little surprises waiting near her door. A plump mango, a wildflower tied with a ribbon, or even a carved wooden bead. The gifts always came when she wasn't looking. Someone, somewhere, was watching over her. These secret kindnesses were like stars in her night. They gave her hope when words failed her. They reminded her that there was still goodness in the world. Zainab treasured each one. She would sit by the banks of the Nyala River, feet dipped in the cool stream, and wonder, who are they? Why are they being so kind to me? She had no answers, but their silent kindness became a comfort she clung to. Even though her uncle and Amina mocked, her Zainab chose to follow the path of light. Like the one giving her gifts, she would be kind in return. She continued to share her fruits with little ones and gather them under the giant oak tree to tell tales. Be good, she'd whisper, even when others are not. That's where true strength lives. The children sat wide-eyed, listening to her soft voice like a lullaby in the wind. Then one dawn, something new arrived. When Zainab opened her door, she gasped. There, waiting neatly, were a pair of fine, sturdy cowhide sandals, and beside them, a folded stack of richly patterned fabric, colors so bold they shimmered in the early sun. The sandals fit perfectly when she tried them on. The fabric danced in the light like butterfly wings. Her hands trembled as she held them. She looked around, heart thudding. Who could it be? She whispered, peering down the road. But the village path lay quiet, as if holding its breath. She scooped up the gifts and went inside, her spirit bouncing between wonder and worry. Later that day, she wore her new sandals to the marketplace. The leather was soft and her steps felt like floating. Nice sandals, Zainab, one of the traders called with a playful wink. She smiled, gave a small nod, and kept walking, her lips sealed. She didn't want to feed more gossip. When she returned home, Zainab laid out the fabric and got to work. She cut, she stitched. Her fingers moved like a song as she shaped a new dress. But her thoughts churned. Why are they doing this for me? What do they want? Is there a price for such kindness? No answers came, only silence. That evening, as the sun melted, into golden night crept across the sky, Zainab stepped outside wearing the dress she had made. It fit like it had always belonged to her. The cloth felt like silk against her skin. Just then, she saw Dokori walking down the path. She waved him over. "Decore," she said quietly. "Look." She pointed to her sandals and dress. "These were left at my door this morning." Decore raised his brows, clearly surprised. "They're beautiful," he said. "You still don't know who's doing this?" Zainab shook her head slowly. "No, and it's wonderful, but it's also a little scary. I don't know what to think." Decore's face grew thoughtful. "Well, whoever it is, they care about you, that's clear." He paused, then added gently, "Just promise me you'll be careful. We don't know why they're doing this." "I promise," Zainab said, her voice firm now. She felt a bit safer sharing the secret with someone. With Decore by her side, the mystery didn't feel quite so heavy. As the sky turned deep blue and fireflies blinked in the trees, Zainab walked inside. Her new dress swayed around her legs like water. The questions remained, thick and silent like the night. But her heart, once fearful, now glowed with something stronger. "They're beautiful," Decore said, impressed. "But you still don't know who's leaving you these gifts?" Zainab shook her head. "No, and that's what makes it so strange. It's wonderful, but also a little frightening. I wish I knew who, or why." Decore looked thoughtful, his brow creased. "Well, whoever it is clearly cares about you. But still, be careful. We don't know what their intentions are." "I will," Zainab promised, her voice steady now. She felt a quiet relief knowing Decore was aware. At least now someone else could keep watch with her in case something unusual happened. As the sky darkened and the moon rose, Zainab stepped back inside. Her new dress swished softly as she moved. The mystery surrounding her felt as wide and silent as the night sky. And yet, deep inside, her heart glowed with quiet gratitude. The world felt a little more magical, like invisible threads were tying her to a secret friend. As days melted into weeks, the village of Okuru buzzed more and more with whispers. Every time Zainab walked to a Baji crossing or the Nyala well, wearing her sandals or her self-stitched dress, voices followed her like dust in the wind. At the well, where women gathered to draw water and exchange stories, the chatter thickened. "Did you see Zainab's new dress?" one woman whispered as she pulled her rope up. "Someone must be quite fond of her to give such fine things." "Yes, but who?" another replied, eyes wide with suspicion. "She claims she doesn't know, but how can anyone keep receiving gifts and not know where they come from?" A third woman, older and grimmer, clicked her tongue. "It's strange, very strange. Such things don't just happen for no reason. She might be hiding something, or someone." Over at the marketplace, the men were talking too. "I heard she got another new pair of sandals," said one man while scooping dried pepper into a bowl. "Maybe someone from another village is trying to win her over." Or, another man lowered his voice. "Maybe it's someone among us, too shy to speak, but watching closely." Decore, who was nearby buying vegetables, overheard the talk. His chest tightened with concern. He didn't like how quickly curiosity turned into gossip, and gossip into something more dangerous. After finishing his shopping, Decore made his way toward Zainab's house. He found her crouched in her small garden, hands in the soil, tending to a bed of greens. "Zainab," he said gently but firmly, "I need to talk to you." She sat back on her heels and looked at him, wiping her hands on her wrapper. "What's wrong?" "It's the talk," Decore said seriously. "The whole village is buzzing. People are growing more curious. Some are suspicious." Zainab sighed and set down her basket. "I know. I hear the whispers too. It's getting harder to ignore them. I wish I knew who's doing this, just so I could tell everyone and stop the noise." Decore nodded. "Be careful, Zainab. Gossip can be sharp. It turns friends into strangers. If there's any way at all, you can find out who your gift giver is. Now might be the time, before this gets worse." Zainab looked around her garden and her peaceful place, and now shadowed by the weight of rumors. "I'll try," she said softly. "Maybe there's a way to find out without asking too many questions. As Decor walked away, he glanced back and saw her staring into the leaves, as if the answers might grow from the ground itself. He hoped she'd find the truth soon, not just for herself, but for the quiet life she so dearly wished to keep. Meanwhile, the gossip kept spinning, louder, heavier, weaving around Zainab's simple world like a tightening net. One evening, just as the sun dipped behind the hills and painted the sky in soft orange and dusty rose, Zainab was stirring a pot of soap when a sharp knock thudded on her door. Her heart jumped. She opened it to find her uncle standing there. His face was stern, his brows pressed down like gathering clouds. "Zainab," he began before even stepping inside. "I've heard enough about these gifts." He walked past her into the small house, his voice low and rough with disapproval. This constant talk, it's becoming too much. You must tell me the truth. Who is giving you these things?" Zainab felt cold suddenly, like the warmth had been pulled from the room. "I swear I don't know, Uncle," she said, her hands nervously tugging at the hem of her dress. "They just appear. There's no note, no name." Her uncle narrowed, his eyes, his gaze sweeping over the unfamiliar things in her home. The sandals, the fabrics, the baskets. "You expect me to believe that someone, some stranger, is showering you with gifts, and you have no idea who they are?" "There's talk, Zainab," her uncle said, his voice like cold iron. "The villagers, they're starting to say things that can stain your name." His words hit her like heavy rain. Zainab knew her uncle held weight in Okuru. People listened when he spoke. If he turned against her, others surely would too. "I understand, Uncle," she replied, her voice soft, almost breaking. "But I'm telling the truth. I haven't asked for these gifts. I haven't done anything wrong." He turned away from her and began pacing the small room, his arms folded behind his back, deep in troubled thought. Finally, he stopped and faced her with narrowed eyes. "Zainab, you are like my own child. Since your parents passed, I have tried to raise you right. I don't want gossip to ruin you, or for some unknown person to take advantage of your innocence." He took a deep breath and went on, his tone turning sharper. "But if you can't uncover who this person is, and if this talk does not stop, then I will have to act. I will do what must be done to protect our family's name." A wave of fear swept over Zainab. "Please, Uncle," she pleaded, her hands clasped together. "Just give me a little more time. I'll ask around, quietly. I'll try to find out who's doing this. I promise." He looked at her, face hard, but the lines of anger slowly softened into warning. "Very well, Zainab," he said at last, "but only until the end of this moon. If you haven't found the one behind these gifts by then, I will go to the village council myself. I'll tell them you've either stolen them, or worse." He paused, letting the words fall like knives, "that you gave away your body for these pretty things." Zainab's heart stopped. "We are a proud family," he said coldly. "I'm next in line for chieftaincy. You will not destroy our honor with your mystery." With that, he turned and walked out, his footsteps echoing behind him. Zainab was left standing in silence, her chest tight with panic, her eyes wide with rising dread. The mystery of the gifts, once magical and joyful, had become a dark storm threatening to destroy her place in the only home she had left. As she returned to her cooking, her hands trembled. Her mind raced. She needed a plan, and quickly. Later that week, Decor sent word, asking her to come to his home. The message sounded urgent. When Zainab arrived, she was surprised to find not just Decor, but two of his most trusted friends seated at his wooden table. The air in the hut felt tense, serious. "Decor, what's going on?" she asked, worry creeping into her voice. He offered her a small smile. "Don't worry, Zainab, we're here to help. We've been thinking about how to find out who's behind the gifts, especially now with your uncle putting pressure on you." One of his friends, a clever young man named Chica, spoke up. "We believe we need a plan, one that doesn't stir more trouble or get you talked about even more." The other friend, a wise young woman called Amma, nodded. She was known in the village for her quiet insight. "We were thinking," she said, "what if we watch your home? Just for a few nights. The gifts always come when no one's looking. Maybe if we're quiet and careful, we can spot whoever it is." Zainab felt both relief and nervousness flood her chest. "But won't that seem like spying? What if someone sees us and starts more rumors?" Dokori leaned forward, voice calm. "We'll be discreet. Only the three of us will know. We'll take turns, stay hidden, and keep it quiet. The point isn't to expose you. It's to protect you." Chika unrolled a small hand-drawn map of Okuru and pointed at the surroundings of Zainab's home. "We can cover these spots," he explained. "I'll stay near the eastern trees, Mo. They're thick and easy to hide in. Amma can keep watch from the west trail, and Dokor will be near the main road. He's the least likely to raise suspicion." Amma added, "We'll use small signals. If one of us sees anything, we'll alert the others without making a scene." Zainab looked at the three of them, heart full. They had thought everything through, just to help her, just to keep her safe. "Thank you," she said, eyes shining. "I don't know how I would have gotten through this without all of you." But as the gratitude swirled within her, so did a shadow of doubt. Why is Dokor so invested? Could he be the one behind the gifts? The thought chilled her. And yet when Dokor gently reached across the table and squeezed her hand, his eyes looked honest. Innocent. "You're not alone, Zainab," he said softly. "We're with you every step of the way. Let's start tonight. The sooner we find out, the better."